Good evening. I'm Chris Matthews back in Philadelphia. It's the day after Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump both appeared before veterans and answered questions about protecting our country. Donald Trump made the most news and stirred up the most heat. He ridiculed American military leaders, saying the generals had been reduced to rubble, and he suggested he'd fire them. He praised Vladimir Putin, calling him, quote, someone who has very strong control over his country. He said he could tell based on their body language that national security officials giving him his intelligence briefing were not happy with President Obama. And today, Hillary Clinton reacted to that.
He trash-talked American generals, saying they've been, quote, reduced to rubble. Meanwhile, bizarrely, once again, he praised Russia's strongman, Vladimir Putin, even taking the astonishing step of suggesting that he prefers the Russian president to our American president. What would Ronald Reagan say about a Republican nominee who attacks America's generals and heaps praise on Russia's president? Every Republican holding or seeking office in this country should be asked if they agree with Donald Trump about these statements.
While traveling overseas, President Obama was also asked about Trump's performance last night.
I don't think the guy's qualified to be president of the United States. And every time he speaks, that opinion is confirmed. And I think the most important thing for the public and the press is to just listen to what he says and follow up and ask questions about what appear to be either contradictory or uninformed or outright wacky ideas.
Well, for his part, Donald Trump slammed Hillary Clinton for her performance. Let's watch.
The whole country saw how unfit she was at the town hall last night, where she refused to take accountability for her failed policies in the Middle East. Her policies unleashed ISIS, spread terrorism, and put Iran on a path to nuclear weapons.
Well, joining me right now is one of Donald Trump's top advisors, former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani. By the way, in recent weeks, Mayor, you've said the following about Hillary Clinton's health. Let's watch that.
She has an entire media empire that constantly demonizes Donald Trump, fails to point out several signs of illness by her. All you got to do is go online.
All you have to do is go. Her campaign and a number of people defending her saying there's nothing factual to the claims about her health.
So go online and put down Hillary Clinton illness. Take a look at the videos for yourself. I think Hillary's tired. I do. When I saw Hillary at the press conference sitting down with the police, with the Democrat-appointed police chiefs, pretending she's pro-police, it was one of the most pathetic press conferences I've ever seen.
What do you mean?
Well, first of all, she looks sick.
Well, Mayor, you had a good look at Hillary Clinton last night. I guess you saw the performance by her and then by her opponent, Mr. Trump, who you backed.
I did.
Do you think there were any signs of illness last night by the former Secretary of State? Signs of illness?
But I thought there were the day before when she coughed for about, I don't know, 15 minutes, and then she coughed on the airplane, and then she spit something up, and I don't know what's wrong with her, but they kind of hide her. And
Mayor, have you got any evidence besides?
I don't.
Do you have any evidence that she's ill? What is the evidence?
I don't, but the evidence is...
You have no evidence that she's ill, but you say
Chris,
she's ill. What is that? You don't think like that.
Chris, let me answer the question, okay?
Sure, go ahead.
I have 8 times online since January in which she's had massive coughing fits in which she couldn't complete her speech. I've seen her lifted onto airplanes, and I don't know what's wrong with her. And then in the FBI report, it says that she can't remember her exit interview from the FBI because of her concussion, because she didn't have a memory. But she was acting as Secretary of State at the time, which means we had a Secretary of State who was acting, who doesn't have a memory of what she was doing. So these are not illegitimate issues. Beyond that...
Well, then you were surprised then. You must have been surprised then, Mr. Mayor, to watch her performance last night when she was quite professional, quite smooth. She didn't sweat. She didn't seem to act in any way harbored by an illness at all. Were you surprised at how healthy she looked last night?
I was surprised at how angry she was last night. I thought I saw
But how
her very,
healthy she was. Did you think she was healthy last night?
Look, I don't know whether she's not, whether she's sick or she's not. I do know that there are 14, 15 videos of her that show her in very, very strange condition. I don't know what it is. But that's not my real issue. My real issue is that the woman exposed thousands and thousands of classified documents, which if I exposed one of them when I was in the Justice Department, they'd have put me in jail. That's what I know.
Okay, let's. I'm not getting anywhere. Mr. Mayor, you were adamant on this subject.
I will tell you
this. You were
this.
adamant. I just want to end this. I have to end the health question. You were adamant there's a health concern with the candidate for president of the Democratic Party. You say there's a health condition problem.
I don't know.
Well, what are you saying?
All I do is see all these incidents of her coughing all the time. I don't know what it is, and I've seen her in several other situations where she didn't look healthy. And then I see in the FBI 302, which was put out on Memorial Day weekend in print about this big, where you needed to use a magnifying glass to read it, but I read it twice. I saw something that really concerned me. It said she can't remember her exit interview from the CIA because she had no memory for a period of time after she had a concussion. She was Secretary of State when she had no memory. Now, there's something really serious
these debates coming up? Do you think these next debates will be a test of her health? The hour and a half debates coming up between now and election day, will they be adequate to test her health?
I think these debates coming up are going to be a test of who the American people like better, who they want in their living room more, who they think is better capable of being president of the United States. And I don't think a woman who has revealed numerous classified information doesn't know that the letter C means confidential.
Right.
God almighty, I mean, Chris, I was in the Justice Department for 3 years. I remember my entry briefing by the CIA. I can tell you the date of it. I remember my exit interview from the CIA. Okay. And I remember that C in parenthesis means confidential. She said she thought it meant alphabetical order, but nobody bothered to ask her, did she ever see an A, a B, a D, or an E? If I were cross-examining her, I darn well would have asked her that question.
Let's go to the commentary last night by your candidate last night. Donald Trump said he welcomed praise from Russian leader Vladimir Putin. Let's watch this point he made.
When referring to a comment that Putin made about you, I think he called you a brilliant leader, you said it's always a great honor to be so nicely complimented by a man so highly respected within his country and beyond.
Well, he does have an 82% approval rating, according to the different pollsters, who, by the way, some of them are based right here at the same time.
Do you want to be complimented by that former KGB officer?
Well, I think when he calls me brilliant, I'll take the compliment, okay? I mean, the man has very strong control over a country. Now, it's a very different system, and I don't happen to like the system. But certainly in that system, he's been a leader far more than our president has been a leader.
Now, there's two ways to address the question, what do you think of Putin? One is, what do you think of him as a leader in the sense of, I'm now putting a scale together of toughest world leaders. Okay, Putin's up there. But in terms of our adversarial relationship with him, should we be saluting him as a great leader at this point, or should we be telling the American people, we've got challenges from this guy who may be threatening NATO, who may be threatening the Baltic states, who may be causing us trouble in the Middle East, maybe, instead of just saluting his grandeur? Shouldn't we be tougher on him in our public statements than your candidate is being?
Chris, what you left out of that was he went on to say that all of that praise wouldn't mean anything to him in negotiating with Putin. Plus, that day, he gave a speech in which he said he's going to take our Navy, which is now at World War I levels. He's going to take it up to 350 ships. He's going to take our Army up to 6,000. And Obama and Hillary are going to take it down to 4,200. He's going to take our Marine Corps from 23 battalions to 35 battalions. And he is going to reestablish and modernize our nuclear program. So Ronald Reagan is going to go into negotiations with Putin from a position of strength. Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama gave up the game on day one when they reset the relationship with Russia, and they gave up the nuclear defense of Poland and the Czech Republic. Putin took a look at them and said, I can push these guys around the world. These are children compared to me. Donald Trump is not a child.
Look, that's a decent
Donald
argument.
Trump is a
You
tough
didn't
guy.
mean Ronald Reagan. You meant Donald. You said Ronald Reagan there a minute ago. You really meant Donald Trump.
Because
Let me ask you about Trump last night.
Because I see a comparison between the two. Peace through strength. What you don't grasp is that day he gave a speech in which he said he's going to build the U.S. military up to Ronald Reagan levels. If we build our military up to Ronald Reagan levels, Putin's not going to push us anywhere because he can't match us. 6%, 5% of our GDP, for him to match us, he has to spend 25% of his GDP, and he'll bankrupt his country. Donald Trump knows how to use leverage in negotiations. Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, never being in business, never really negotiating, give away for nothing things they shouldn't give away. They gave away the defense of the Czech Republic and Poland to reset the relationship with Russia for nothing. The day they did that, Putin, who's a KGB killer, figured out, I can push these guys around the world. He will not be able to push Donald Trump around the world. Believe me, this guy is not going to get pushed around.
You say that we've given up our support of the Czech Republic and Slovakia and those countries and Poland. Why so? Because we didn't put the monitors there, the nuclear monitors. Why is that giving up on defending Europe? Where have we done that? Where's Obama done that?
If you read history, right? If you read Gorbachev's memoirs, Gorbachev's memoirs said the key thing in winning the Cold War was our insistence on nuclear defense, because they knew they couldn't match us. We have proven in Israel that nuclear defense works. Our technology...
Iron Dome works, of course, and Star Wars was never proven, but you're right, Mayor, it was a brilliant bluff of the Russians. We said we could do it. They thought, well, we didn't do it, so we don't have a shield, a nuclear shield.
Let me make the following point. Here's why nuclear defense makes sense, and I know something about this. A missile can take an airplane out of the air. A better missile can take a missile out of the air. We are technologically ahead of Russia and China. We can develop a nuclear shield for the United States, for Poland, and for the Czech Republic. Russia is deadly frightened of that. They have been trying to get us to give that up for 20 years since Reagan. Clinton wouldn't give it up. Bush wouldn't give it up.
Okay.
He gave it up on the first day.
We don't have strategic defense.
And here's the worst thing.
We don't have a strategic defense system.
I asked Secretary Gates, what did they get in return for giving up the nuclear shield of Poland and the Czech Republic? You know what his answer was? Nada. They got nothing.
Okay.
Let
me ask you one last question. I have to ask you one last question. I know you don't like this question, but I think it's appropriate given you are a major, as you've just demonstrated, a strong surrogate and defender of the candidacy for president of Donald Trump. A couple of his people, including his vice presidential running mate, Mike Pence, the governor of Indiana, and of course, Dr. Ben Carson, both come out in the last days, hours practically, and said they believe that President Obama is a legitimately elected president of the United States. In other words, he was born in the United States. Do you confirm that? Do you agree with that?
I confirm that, and Donald Trump now confirms that. You know, Hillary Clinton
When did he do
campaign,
that? When did he do that?
He did that
when did he do that?
2 years ago. 3 years ago.
When did he has now accepted that birtherism was nonsense.
Look, Hillary Clinton's campaign, Chris, Hillary Clinton's campaign.
He did not do that yet. I am waiting for him to do it.
Hillary Clinton's campaign was the first one to bring up the fact that there was a question.
Where did they do that? Where did they do that?
Donald Trump has said that.
Give me the example when they did that. You just said that Hillary Clinton accused the president. Has Hillary Clinton ever accused the president of being foreign-born?
Her campaign did during the primary.
Her campaign, Hillary for president campaign did this.
Yes, okay.
No,
well,
it didn't. There's no evidence that Hillary campaign.
I was always responsible for
I want to
everything
know
in my
whether you
campaign.
believe that your candidate for president believes he would succeed a legitimate president or not. Does he believe he would succeed a legitimate president?
Donald Trump believes now that he was born in the United States. But that issue was raised originally. That issue was raised originally.
When is he going to say that this president is legitimate? This is a fundamental question, Mr. Mayor. Is the president of the United States legitimate or not? Do you believe it? If you believe it, why doesn't your candidate state it?
I believe it. He believes it. We all believe it. But it took a long time to get it out.
Are you speaking for him now?
First one,
are you speaking for Donald Trump tonight on live television? Are you saying for him? I'm saying he's about to buckle and say finally that Barack Obama is legitimate president of the United States.
He is the one who got him to finally produce the birth certificate. Hillary Clinton's campaign first raised this issue. And he picked this up from Hillary Clinton.
He has subsequently said he does not accept that as the final word.
He picked it up.
Can you commit to your candidate saying within the next 24 hours that President Obama is a legitimate president? Can you commit for him that he will say that?
Just go back and look. He has said it already. And the fact is...
No, he hasn't.
That is an issue that was originally
You're wrong on the fact here, Mr. Mayor.
Well, every once in a while I am, but I think he did. And the fact is, I believe
you're wrong.
He was legitimately born
but you
in
say
the United States.
I could ask you.
But the point is that Hillary Clinton's campaign is the first one to do it because all she does is engage in negative campaigning against Barack Obama and against Donald Trump.
First of all, she's never said that. And your candidate has on numerous occasions, and I'm asking you the final word, we'll end this back and forth. Can you say authoritatively on behalf of Donald Trump that he was wrong in saying the president was born in another country? Can you say that now?
I believe he picked up on what Hillary Clinton's campaign said. He pushed Obama. Obama finally produced the birth certificate, and it showed he was born in Hawaii.
Therefore,
he's an American citizen.
As per Donald Trump.
As per Donald Trump.
Donald Trump says so.
As per everyone else.
He has told you that? Has he ever told you this privately, that he believes this president is legitimate?
He has told me that he is proud of the fact that he finally got Obama to produce his birth certificate.
I think we have it on the record now. Mr. Mayor, I'm glad you came on, but I do want to put this to rest. I don't think this is funny. I think when you accuse the President of the United States of being someone who snuck in the country and assumed an identity, because that's what Trump has been doing for years now.
Not when your opponent in the Democratic primary, Hillary Clinton, who has lied probably 1,000 times over emails.
Let me just tell you,
Foundation.
There's no record at all, Mr. Mayor. On the record right now, we checked this before you came on because one of our producers, our senior producers, thought you might say this. There's absolutely no record ever of Hillary Clinton or anyone in her campaign ever saying that President Obama is not legitimate.
Her campaign raised it originally.
You're wrong.
I'm not wrong. I'm right about that.
Look, anybody can say anything they want, but she can control her own campaign, and she has never said so, nor is anyone speaking for her. But now you're speaking. Now you're speaking for Donald Trump, and we're ending this now because we're spending a lot of time on it. But I think it is important. You say this president is legitimately elected president of the United States.
I believe
and you
he's a
say your
legitimately
candidate
elected
agrees
president.
with you.
And instead of talking about the fact that Hillary Clinton violated probably about 40 different federal laws, we're talking about this, which is ridiculous.
Okay, thank you. Well, it is ridiculous, and I'm trying to put the ridiculousness to bed.
So let's talk about the fact that
we're trying to pick the next president, not review the birth of the current president. Anyway, thank you, Mayor Rudy Giuliani.
So let's talk about the next president being someone who would be prosecuted if she wasn't a Clinton. Because I would have prosecuted her, and I've seen plenty of people prosecuted for much less, like Martha Stewart. You know how many false statements she made to the FBI? They're so long, I can't count them.
And the FBI had a right to review that, and they did, and they found her not in any criminal violation. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have to go on. It's a live show.
3 days after the interview.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Joining me right now is USA Today Washington Bureau Chief Susan Page, MSNBC terrorism analyst Malcolm Nance. He's the executive director of the Terror Asymmetrics Project. Susan, thanks for joining us, and you cover all kinds of things. What do you make of that, what we just heard?
Well, I think that Mayor Giuliani was misstating some facts. In fact, Donald Trump was asked about whether he stood by his birther comments about further questions about President Obama just this week by reporters. He declined to respond. And so far as I can recall, and I haven't had a chance to research this fully, I have never heard Donald Trump say definitively that he accepts that Barack Obama was born here. He has dropped the issue as he's become the nominee and moved on. But so far as I know, he's never made that kind of statement. And I'm also not aware, and again, it'd be good if I had time to research this, I'm not aware of Hillary Clinton ever raising questions about
No,
Barack
she was.
Obama's
We have evidence. PolitiFact has ruled on this, and they're a very legitimate organization. Yeah. They said neither Hillary Clinton or anyone officially or in her campaign has said, of course, people can all join in any chorus they want, but all she can control is her own campaign. Malcolm, here's a question that I didn't expect to ask you, sir, but one reason why people in the minority community, African Americans especially, have a problem with this candidacy of Donald Trump is because of what he has continued to say and has never taken back, his charge that the president was illegitimately elected by the American people, that he somehow snuck into the country under some sort of strange guise and managed to convince everybody he was born in Hawaii when he was not. This went on for months. It has never stopped. I'd like to end it. Rudy Giuliani almost ended it, but he wouldn't say that he could speak for the candidate yet tonight, except to say he believed it, and he thought that Trump had stopped doing it, but Trump hasn't stopped doing it. He has not changed, as Susan just explained.
Right. Well, you know, birtherism is the ultimate form of racism when you consider that it's the first black president of the United States. By claiming that he is an illegitimate entity, that he had no right to even be in the United States because he was born in another nation, did a convoluted plan that took decades, which involved his mother, to show that he was not actually allowed to be here in the face of all the investigative arms of the United States government. It's just a form of, it's beyond political, it's just racist.
Well, I think, let me ask you this, Susan. Why do you think Rudy Giuliani, he's not comfortable with the issue? He's very aggressive, of course, but not comfortable defending birtherism. He said he doesn't believe in it. Dr. Ben Carson doesn't believe it. Mike Pence, Trump's running mate, doesn't believe it. But Trump won't give on this. What's that about?
Well, I don't know. I don't know why Trump doesn't give on this. Maybe it's because he's staked out a position. He doesn't want to back off on it. I'll tell you, Rudy Giuliani was pretty aggressive in pressing questions about Hillary Clinton's health. You know, and this is yet another case where there is no evidence that there's a problem with Hillary Clinton's health. She had a coughing fit. You know, big deal. And we will have a good opportunity to see the stamina of both candidates in 3 90-minute debates. So this is another case of pressing an argument on which there doesn't seem to be any factual basis. And I think this is one of the things that I think a lot of Americans find so frustrating about politics in general and this election in particular.
Yeah, there's an old movie line in Anatomy of a Murder, the Jimmy Stewart movie and Ben Gazzara movie, where the lawyer in the case said to the jury, "Don't think of a blue cow." Of course, you do think of a blue cow. So suggest something like he snuck in the country, blah, 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 or suggest that Hillary's got a coughing problem, some serious health problem. Get that into the power of suggestion. Get it out there so some people on her side can at least start spreading it around. It has something. It's what they did to Dukakis when he was accused of having psychological counseling. Reagan pushed that out there. This is an old dirty trick. Anyway, thank you, Susan Page. Thank you, Malcolm Nance. I'll talk to you about the stuff we plan to talk to you about later. Coming up.